I have another little project I'm going to attempt to try. One of my friends gave me a bunch of cut-off scraps of Ipe decking. It's a very nice exotic wood that is very resistant to any type of water rot, bug, or insect infestation, just naturally leaving it as it is. So what I'm going to do, I did not think of recording beforehand, but I cubed everything up to sizes that are manageable for what I think I'm going to make. I got the most yield out of what I had. There's two different sizes, and there's a couple different grain directions. This is the same size as this tall stack, but the grain goes the opposite direction. I am going to make a parquet floor lay down mat for a part of our yard that my fiance is unaware about yet, and it's going to be a surprise to her because she has a, let's see if we can go over there, a cedar swing that she wants some type of solid area in front of. Can you see it? I don't want to walk all the way across the yard, but let's see if we can zoom in. How do you zoom? All the way over back there, there's a cedar swing, and it's just sitting on 3/4 inch stone. So I'm going to make this mat and lay it down in front of it, but she doesn't know about it yet, so it's still a surprise. I'm going to lay it out on the floor and then mark edges of what I need to do and whatnot, and once I have it laid out, I'll start another recording and let you see. Okay, so here's my idea. It's just a mat. I don't know, my guess is it's going to be about 45 inches by 45 inches square. Somewhere's around there. I don't know exactly, and I'll explain why I don't know exactly. I plan on attaching all of these together with 2 eye screws. They're going to be interlocked like this, so they hook together. That's my thought. And I'm not 100% sure it's going to work, because it's going to be a lot of tedious work with my fingers. And I have to pry them open with pliers. Let's see if I can do one. Alright, there. That. And take this. And just bend that. So I bent the eye hook open a little, and then once I get another, eye hook, I can just hook them together and then bend one back together, bend that back together. But I can't do any of that until I actually have them drilled into the blocks. Because can you imagine trying to screw the whole thing together with that still connected? It will be next to impossible. So my step now is I have to mark each one of these joints where I want drill holes. Because I don't want to be drilling on this face, and I don't want to be drilling on that face, and I don't want to be drilling on that face. So this is a parquet floor because it's going to be hard to tell on the camera. But the wood grain on this piece goes across this way, and the wood grain on this piece goes across this way, and then back this way, and they alternate. So end grain to end grain never meets up. It's always end grain to edge grain, then end grain to edge grain. So it's another little pattern. Because of using scraps, I have a couple random pieces on the outside. These are like 5-inch square, I think I got them. These are 5-inch in the same dimension here as here, but I was not able to get the same width. So these are like 4 inches or 3 3/4 of an inch. So I have a couple random pieces on the outside corners that I'm going to have to cut down to match this and to match this. And then yeah, I think this side's the same. It's the smaller dimension. I just did a perimeter. Those are not parquet. Those just run continue streamline, just like a border around it. All right, I am going to mark this, and I'm going to set up the drill press to actually drill all the holes uniform. Alrighty. I have the drill press set up for all the center pieces. It's gonna have to get changed for the perimeter pieces because, like I said before, those are narrower on one dimension, so the center is not the same. I made sure I used some nice strong beefy clamps so my back fence doesn't move. I made sure I had a tall square fence right here because my pieces are going to be sitting up against it like this, and I don't want my pieces to be rocking or accidentally sit on sawdust and kick out. That's why I want a nice tall fence so I can sit tight up against that. I have my stop block that this slides over to, and I actually use sandpaper on the back side of it because every time you push a piece in, you're just bumping it. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a little bump. So the sandpaper stops it from sliding. Even with a clamp pressing on it, it doesn't always stay in place without the sandpaper. Next thing, my choice of drill bits. You want to find a drill bit. Typically you want to find a drill bit that drills a hole the size of that center of the threads. But because Ipe is so hard, I chose a drill bit that drills a hole very slightly bigger. I can't even focus on it. Yeah, very slightly bigger than the center shaft of the threads, because I drilled a couple test holes and threaded it in on the correct size, and I got about half the threads in and it cracked and split off. So I decided to go a little bit oversized so there's not as much force and restriction. And yeah, I did that over here. This is the concept of what I'm going to do. I'm going to have all the boards spaced out and have the screws, eye screws, in here. This one I did not clamp down yet because it's just a template. There is also the holes on that side, and it's too dark. I don't know if you can see it there. Needless to say, they're on all four sides. Let's see if I actually have, I think this was the one that I did the square, or the center mark. I don't know where it was. But to find center, for those that do not know, on a square or a rectangle, you just take a straight edge and connect opposing corners. So it's hard to do with only one hand and one hand on the camera. That opposing corner to that one, you draw a line across, and then you go reverse and go from that opposing corner to that opposing corner, and you draw a line across, and that will give you an X right in the dead center of your end and your side. I wish I found out which one it was. Yeah, I don't know where I put it, but yeah. Alright, I'm going to set up a time lapse of me drilling all these out, and have fun. So there it is. I have all the stacks of my centerpieces that have drilling on all 4 edges. And then I have the stack of all my perimeter pieces that have drilling on 3 edges. And then I just did the corner pieces that only have 2 edges, not in line with each other, but perpendicular to each other. Now my next step is, let's see if we can get an edge of these. Let's see how it focuses. There is about a 1/16 inch round over on that side, but this side is square because I had to cut them. Same with that side is square. Let's get it to focus. Come on, right there. I'm going to be running everything over a router table to put a 1/16 inch round over on all edges. Even these uprights, just to make everything nice and smooth and consistent looking. This round over is from the mill when they were decking boards. This side got cut off because they were inconsistent, and then obviously when I cut them to length, these sides got cut. So I'm going to set that up, and you get to watch that. So I've gone through and routed everything. I did not have a 1/16 inch round over bit, so I just ended up using an 1/8 inch round over. That light is horrible though. Here, let's go this way. I used an 1/8 inch round over, and I just did not set it to full depth. So it's got a really subtle round over on there. That's all I'm looking for, something soft so it's not a sharp edge. Now I am going to go through with either a piece of sandpaper or the orbital sander. I'm getting rid of some of the old Sharpie markers, Sharpie marks, because like I said before, these were reused boards. So I'm going to get rid of that just by sanding it off, and then some of them have, where I drilled, they have these little burrs and tear outs, which is not an issue for it to happen. It's just I'm going to sand it off so it's smooth. I'm not sanding these to a polish. They're going to be a walking mat outside. They don't need to get sanded to 120, 180, 220 grit. I'm just going to be going over with 100 grit to, like I said, get rid of the Sharpie marks, get rid of those little tear outs or any type of slight imperfection like that. Alrighty. I went through and sanded everything, and I'm at this angle because it actually made me realize I never mentioned it. Ipe dust, airborne dust. So all this is not airborne. This was just sitting there that fell off the boards. But Ipe airborne dust is a very large or very bad irritant for your lungs. So if you do not have dust extractors like that right there for your saw or for your planer or anything, and you don't have a dust extractor for your orbital sanders, so I have this one, actually it's all the way over here. It's a vacuum that attaches right to my orbital sander. You get a lot of airborne dust. What you're going to want to do in the past, what I found best, is have a fan at your back blowing the dust away from you, because it is nasty. It causes you to cough, and I don't want to say gag, but it feels like you're cutting up your airway because it is a very bad irritant to your lungs. So back to this though. I sanded everything. Like I said before, it's not perfect. It's just getting rid of the burrs and whatnot. Now I am going to go through and actually screw in all the eye screws. That way I have something. I might hang them up and oil them, or I might set them down on something and oil them. Needless to say, I don't want to have to be fondling these a million times when they're doused in oil. So I'm going to screw the eye screws in now, and then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to oil them afterwards, which not a big deal. I'll figure something out. Alrighty, I'm going to set up a time lapse for that. That's going to take a long time. I think I ordered 140 eye screws, somewhere around there. Fun. Quick preview of what I'm doing. I am putting the screws in, the eye screws in, but I have two laying down flat, so call it horizontal, and then I have two vertical. And I'm doing that because when they go together, I need a horizontal going to a vertical, and then I need a horizontal going to a vertical, and then same with here, and then it rotates. So if I put this way, I have a horizontal going to a vertical there, but I don't have a horizontal going to a vertical here. I have two verticals. So I do it that way and it works. So I'm going to keep going. I have a lot more to do. I did 2, 4, 6, 7, and it took me about 20 minutes. Not good timing. I guess you lucked out in a way. My camera wasn't recording for the rest of these screws. I'm not completely done. I still have a stack of the exterior perimeter pieces, but I got all the interior field pieces with the eye screws in it, and I started laying out, which kind of missed that on the camera. That's why I'm doing it now. I am bending the eye hooks open on one edge, and then the opposing one is still solid. And what I do, this is going to be really hard. Let me set this up right down here. What I've been doing is, so this one's solid, this one's open. I'll hook that on there, and same solid, and then open, hook that on there, hook that, hook that, hook that. Just going across and hooking them. I don't need to, looks like I didn't bend that one enough. I don't need to bend every single one. I'm only bending half of them. And then once I have them all hooked in that row, I go back through and I bend them closed. Probably not the best way to do it, but it's the way I came up with, and it's working. So, yeah. I'm actually kind of curious what the dimension is. After I get these clamped in, I'm going to figure out and measure what the dimension is of this. Overall, it's going to end up being square. So it'll give, I'm only going to measure one dimension. Right now, eye hook to eye hook is 35 inches. And then I have to put the perimeter block on with another eye hook and another perimeter block on with another eye hook. So 1 3/4. Let's just space that out. 1 3/4, 1 3/4. Yep, it's going to end up being right around 45, 46 inches. All right, I'm going to set up a time lapse for hooking all these up. I did not explain before why I was setting this all up now. Is because my perimeter pieces, I need to be able to tell which way, sorry, trying to set it up. I need to be able to tell which way the screw's going and how I want them. Like, the screw on this one needs to be vertical. The screw on this side needs to be vertical. But the screw on this side needs to be horizontal. So I needed to figure that out. That's why I set this up now. Alright, I'm going to work on screwing some of these blocks together. Well, putting all the eye screws in these blocks, I should say. And then hooking them up. Alrighty. I'll set this time lapse up and hopefully this time it records. Okay, there it is. I have the entire mat put together. Every one, unless I missed one, but I don't think I did. Every one clamped together so they don't fall apart when I move it or anything. I have yet to pick this up. I'm not looking forward to it because when I had it in the box, it was heavy. So now I just added all the hardware, so it's going to be even heavier and more awkward. Let's see if I can get a good angle while I put it on the floor for comparison. Right there. Okay. Okay, so I was not able to pick it up over the table like I wanted to. It ended up sliding off the other side, but you still got to see that. This is the mat. It is, I mean, my shop makes it look deceivingly small, but it is big. It is just under 4 feet by 4 feet square. And if you step on it, let's see, you have plenty of flat surface to walk on, so you're not walking on stone. That's what she was looking for, even though she doesn't even know about this yet. She just wanted a flat surface. But it would be done right now. There's nothing wrong with it going out in the weather like this. I want to put teak oil on it just to enrich the color. It's not necessary at all, but it just brings out the natural color of the wood better, and it's also exterior grade, so it'll stop it from graying over time if I keep treating it. I will get onto that, and yeah, I'll probably do a little video of that. Alrighty. Just a quick preview of what teak oil does, because you won't really be able to see the difference on the mat because I'll be doing a mass of it and not zooming in. But this is dry, and then this is with teak oil on it. It brings out the natural, on this piece, the natural red colors. Let's go under a light. The red colors and the burgundies on there. And then every piece of Ipe is different, just like any other wood. On this one, it brings out the golden brown, chocolate brown color, I guess you could say. So that's why I'm doing it. Just brings out the color brighter, more vibrant. Alright, I'm going to set up a time lapse and do all that. Well, there it is. The Ipe mat is done. Tomorrow I am going to get some pictures of it outside in the stone, but for today it's just going to lay in here and let the oil soak in and dry up so I don't keep getting it all over me every time I move it. And also, of course, it is dark out. I always end up working in the dark. That's why I have good lighting. But yeah, like I said, I am going to get some pictures. I'll post those at the end of this video. I did want to point out that I kind of made this so if I ever want to expand it, so if I ever get more Ipe, I can stretch these joints apart and just take like a whole row off of the edging and then add more in and then put this edging back onto it. So if I ever do decide to buy some Ipe, or maybe I have a job where I have scrap Ipe, or my friend gives me some more, I can always expand it, which would be cool. Because I mean, what's wrong with an even bigger mat? All right, until next time. I don't know what my project will be next though. Here is the Ipe mat. So since the time I started building this, or making this I should say, we had gotten more of these slate flagstones. So it was originally going to go right around here, right in front of the swing, but we have slate flagstones that fill in this whole area now. So I think what we're going to do is take these flagstones out and have this Ipe mat go underneath it, but I have too much going on, so I'm going to have to do that another day. But yep, this is the final finished product. It's actually been outside for a couple days. I didn't get to surprise the fiance because she saw me carrying it across the yard and saw what was going on, so she kind of cheated a little. As you can see, there's water on it. It's been raining on and off the last couple days. The water does not affect it. It just kind of beads off, like right here. All just beads off. All right, that's the end of that project. On to the next.